In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to overcome stage performance anxiety. It's Paul Tobey from jazzmental.com. Thanks for showing up in this video. I've got 10 really powerful strategies to overcome stage performance anxiety. It is something that most people have a problem with, and you're absolutely going to need these 10 things. Stick around to the end because by the time we're done, you'll have 10 extremely powerful strategies on how to deal with your stage performance anxiety. Let's get started. Okay, so today we're talking about how to overcome stage performance anxiety, and I've got 10 really powerful strategies that are really going to help you. I've been performing on stages most of my life and been a public speaker for many of those years, and I really didn't learn these strategies until I became a public speaker, and they've served me well ever since. So here they are. Number one, first of all, you must realize that whatever you're feeling, it's very powerful physiology, meaning if your knees shake, your heart races, you sweat a little bit, that's powerful physiology. It tells you that you are suffering from some type of anxiety. So therefore, it's the body's response to what you're feeling. And you must pay attention to that, because if you don't pay attention to it, it typically gets worse. So when it shows up, then you need these strategies in order to overcome it. Let's move on to number two. Breathe and drink loads of water. So one of the things that we stop doing when we start performing is we stop breathing properly. We tend to take really short breaths instead of long, drawn out ones because we're not focused on that. So because we're anxious, we start to take these, again, short breaths that don't serve us very well. We need air, and without it, it gets worse. So learn to focus on your breathing. In fact, before you hit the stage, take a couple of minutes and do deep, long breaths. In for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, and out for 5 seconds. Again, breathe slowly over a 2-minute period. It's really going to help you a lot. The other thing is, before you hit the stage as well, drink loads of water. And by loads, I mean loads. I'm talking about like a pitcher of water. And while you're on stage, continue to drink lots of water. It's really going to help you overcome your anxiety, and it's going to take those fears and doubts that you have and just push them aside. All right, let's move on to number three. Learn to come from service. It's not about you. Yes, of course, you are the performer. You are there to showcase your talents, but it's really not about you. It's about the audience. If you take all of the focus that you put on your performance and you start to communicate with the audience and understand that you're there for their benefit, then you can't really be nervous about that. I know it's a difficult concept to come to terms with, especially as a performer. It's a lot easier as a trainer, teacher, public speaker because you're there to help other people learn. But performance is really not that different. You're there for the entertainment and benefit of your audience. And when you focus on them versus you, that's going to take a lot of the pressure off. All right, let's move on to number four. Stay present. If you've ever heard of present moment awareness from books like The Power of Now and Eckhart Tolle, it essentially means keep your mind from drifting into the past and into the future. In other words, consistently obsessing about mistakes that you just made and anticipating ones that are coming up. Instead, focus on the moment. Stay in that creative space between notes, that space where you're ultimately attracting great sounds and you're creating a great performance for other people. If you try to convince yourself that you're not going to make mistakes, it actually works in reverse. In other words, I'm going to focus all my energy on not making mistakes. You actually make mistakes. So stay present, keep that creative magnetic energy flowing, and you'll be much better off for it. All right, number five, you never look as nervous as you feel. This is an inside advantage that I've known for many years now. No matter how nervous you feel, try to remember that the audience doesn't see that at all. In fact, all they see is the performance. They're not really looking at you in a way that's judging you for being nervous or being anxious. So you can use that information to your benefit. One of the things you should not do is, and I see speakers do this all the time, it's like, oh, I'm a little bit nervous. Don't tell the audience you're nervous. if you tell them that, they're going to start focusing on that. So don't say anything at all. And quite frankly, they won't even notice, and they've never noticed before, and they're not going to start noticing now. Okay, number 6, this is a great one. Your audience and the people in it want you to succeed. They didn't come there hoping that you'll fail. They didn't come there hoping that it's going to be a bad performance so they can talk about it with their friends. No, they came there to be entertained and educated. I call that edutainment. They came for their own benefit and they want it to be good. They want you to succeed. So all of that energy should help you understand that you are the right person in the right place at the right time, and you are there for their benefit, and they came to see you do well. That's one you can really leverage. Okay, I love this one. Number 7, make the audience the star. It's interesting. I've created another video on actually how to entertain audiences. I'm going to put a link up here in the corner. You might want to check that out, because what I've learned is that when you make the audience the star and you get them involved, you're going to become a lot less nervous because there's an interplay and an exchange of energy. So what I mean by that is ask the audience questions, ask them for requests, say, what would you like to hear? The minute you start to do that, then you realize that you're just in a conversation and you're there in service of them. And if you watch the video that I just posted, there are a lot of other tips and tricks on how to entertain the audience. And when you get them involved and they become the star, it's going to take all the focus and the anxiety away. And when you make them the star, it's going to take all the focus off of you and dissipate the anxiety. All right, let's move on to number 8. Here's one that's really going to help you. They don't know what you were supposed to do or supposed to say. In most performances, unless you put a script or you give a script to the audience and you tell them that this is the way that's going to be, they're not sitting there going, oh, you didn't say something correctly, you didn't play something correctly, you didn't know what you were doing, we know what you're supposed to do. They don't have any idea what you were supposed to do or say or anything. So my suggestion is that you just go with the flow. Whatever happens, happens. Sure, you might have a set list and that's really cool, but it's more about interaction and interplay than it is about anything else. And because they don't know the order of things, they don't know the agenda, they don't know if you're ahead of time, behind time, they don't know if you missed anything, they have no clue. And most of them aren't musicians. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh, they're noticing all your mistakes, I've made tons of mistakes before and people never come up to me and say, wow, you made like 6 mistakes in that piece. My wife does that sometimes. She says, well, I heard them all, but most people didn't notice. And again, they won't notice. So don't worry about that. Okay, number 9, and this is obviously important. Trust yourself. You've been doing it long enough to know that you have to have a certain amount of faith in your abilities in order to carry out the project, the performance, whatever it is you're trying to do. I personally find it more difficult to be in studio and perform there because every note you play is recorded. For me, are few and far between. I did get a little bit nervous at Carnegie Hall, but there was a bunch of other reasons for that. But as soon as I hit the stage, I knew that my job was to be in service of the audience, and immediately my anxiety just kind of goes away. So I'm going to suggest to you that you begin to trust yourself a little bit more than you're trusting yourself, that you're smart enough, knowledgeable enough, practiced enough, and intelligent enough to know that you'll get through it. And finally, number 10, over time, whatever performance anxiety you have will get easier to deal with. In fact, over the years, I've found that it's gone from, oh, I'm really scared and I hope I don't make mistakes, gee, I hope I have a lot of fun. I hope this is a memorable performance. I hope the audience is great. I trust the process. I'm here in service of. Just everything gets easier because, of course, experience, that comes first, right? The more experience you have, the better you are at dealing with any sort of performance anxiety. So that's my list of 10 things that you can use to help you with your performance anxiety. I hope that works for you. If you have one that you'd like to share with me, please post that in the comments below. And of course, any questions you have, I'll also handle those in the comment area. Thanks so much for your time.